What is up, gorgeous soul? Welcome back to this week's episode of the Embodied Leadership Podcast. I'm your host, Rachael Meeds, and this week we are diving into a really important conversation, which is all about, is it bad for me to want to be famous for my work in the world? And I want to just break this down real quick before we get into all that nitty gritty details of the conversation and just straight up tell you, no, it's not fucking bad. It is not bad for you to want something that is literally a desire that's been placed on the altar of your heart to fulfill. The thing that is really curious about this is, I don't know about you, but I'm somebody who likes to actually know what words mean. I think that we just live in a time where I think there's a lot of words that people have an association with based upon pop culture, based upon their personal lived experiences, based upon, just society as a whole. And sometimes the actual meaning of words can get lost, right? Because people just have their own, kind of association with what that word means. But I like to know what words actually mean. And to be famous or fame is actually what it means is to be known by many people. It means to be known by many people. And if you are somebody who is a business owner, an entrepreneur, a leader, somebody who has a service or a product that you are selling in the world, of course you want to be known by many people. I feel like lying to yourself and saying, no, I actually don't want that is basically saying that you don't want to be successful. Of course you want your work to be known by many people, because being known by many people not only is a representation of the impact that you get to have on these lives, but it also directly influences what you see going on in your bank account, right? And I'll just say the thing with being known by many people is that it's totally subjective, right? It's a very subjective experience. To you, being known by many people might be having 800 followers on Instagram. To another person, being known by many people means that you have a really large audience of hundreds of thousands of people. Maybe to somebody else, it means being somebody in your physical community that people know, recognize, and go to for a very specific product or service, right? So to be known by many people is subjective. And I think that this is a really important piece, because this is the same goes for how we relate to wealth. The same goes for how we relate to concepts a lot of money. What is a lot or what is wealth to one person is going to be different to the next person. And this is why it is so fucking important that you actually know what these things mean to you, right? Because if you're looking to everybody else's definition of success, wealth, fame, and you're essentially not even coming back into your own body, your own discernment to really figure out what you really want, and you're just constantly, trying to manifest based on other people's definitions, there's going to be a situation where either you get into a chapter or a level of success that you're not even fulfilled within, because you literally created something based on somebody else's desire, not even your own. Or you're going to be constantly going around and around in circles, feeling frustrated, right? Because you're not actually clear on what you want, what you want, right? So to kind of bring it back to this conversation, this curiosity of is it bad to want to be famous for your work? No. Why the fuck would that be a bad thing? I believe that it is of high service to humanity that your work is known by many people, that you are well-resourced financially, that you are somebody who is so deeply provided for through your important work in the world that you actually have even more of a capacity to serve others, even more of a capacity for the vision that God has placed on the altar of your heart to fulfill, right? Because you are a living, breathing expression of the desires that you hold, because you woke up to the fact that your desires are not separate from you. I've seen people talk about how, I've seen this emotional guidance scale before, and some people refer to this a lot as like, these are like low vibration emotions, these are high vibration emotions. And, there's no denying that certain emotions perhaps omit a particular frequency that can sometimes feel more magnetic versus more repelling, or more vibrant and, comfortable versus like really uncomfortable and maybe a bit repelling. And yet I feel like, I'm somebody who like doesn't like to like just play in like, the black and white of reality. Like I'm very much somebody who sees that actually duality is kind of this big fucking illusion, and that there is always nuance. It's always the both and. And so on this emotional guidance scale, desire, the frequency of desire is said to be this like really low vibration. And that's just like never, that just has like never made sense to me. I think from the standpoint, if you're like in the energy of desire from a state of lack, like you're constantly like, I don't have enough, I'm not enough, and you're constantly seeking things outside of you to feel good, I can appreciate how this, this wheel of emotion, so to speak, like desire could be associated with being something that's like bad or negative. But in the same breath, to me, desire is sacred. Desire is what actually has allowed humanity to grow. There's an example that one of my teachers shared, which was like, before, I think she used the example of like cavemen, or like, like back in like hunter-gatherer days, right? When the majority of the world was still in that, kind of timeline. Things were mostly just done out of survival, right? It was like, you go hunt, you get the food, you get the water, you sleep, you eat, you got people like manning the fort. Like that was like, there was a survival state of existence, right? But then there was like this desire in our consciousness to make things beautiful. So instead of a bowl just being a bowl that you use to eat, and it's just like its only purpose is like to be a bowl, right? Then we had people like painting the bowl, making it beautiful, right? There was a desire to make this, pretty objectively like plain fucking thing, something beautiful, right? It's why, we seek beauty, right? We seek creating more things. We create art, we create spaces for people to flourish in. Like desire is actually on like the forefront of that, right? Desire is this experience in our body that goes, yeah, I really want this thing. There's something in me that feels connected to this. And why would that be wrong, right? To someone else. Again, this is where like there is really only subjective. Like people are always experiencing reality based on their subjective truth, right? Because to one person, what you desire might be bad or wrong, but to the next person, it's like, oh my God, that's the best thing ever. So like, like there's always this, nuance taking place. It's always the both and you get to decide for you what is true for you. And so for me, desire is sacred, because to me, desire isn't, oh my God, I suck and I'm lacking and I'm never enough. It's like, oh my gosh, my life is already so beautiful and I'm already so fulfilled and I'm already so taken care of, but I do want more. It's like, thank you. Yes. And more, please. Right? So there's this opportunity to like really reclaim your desires as this holy gift from the divine, from God. And recognizing that if one of your desires is to be known by many people because you actually are literally a catalyst through your work or through your product or through your service, in whatever way that looks like for you, for something beautiful in the world, then how the fuck could that ever be bad? And again, we kind of associate fame with like, Hollywood or whatever. But even then, it's like, what if we stopped making other people's expression of wealth, fame, desire wrong? Like, what would happen if we were able to go, wow, that, that exists for that person, and like, whatever, like, I don't have to believe what they believe. I don't have to live the way that they live. But I can appreciate that that is like their truth or their desire. And like, can I actually like hold like that that's like great for them, you know? Right. So when it comes to, yeah, this like unshaming of like what you really want, you first got to be really fucking clear on what the fuck you really want. Right. Because if you're just constantly looking outside of yourself, and then that perpetuates this like I'm not worthy narrative. I don't have enough narrative. Like you're really not actually living in integrity with not only your gifts, but like the brilliance of what you get to create. Because I believe that you actually have what it takes, no matter what, to create the life that you want if you want the thing. Because again, I believe that your desires are placed on the altar of your heart for a reason. You wouldn't desire something if it didn't exist for you. That's what I believe. And I think that the more we like unshame that, the more we start to really recalibrate to a reality that is actually reflective of the truth of what we want in terms of like our soul-based truth, not the, messy kind of fucked up truth of like the limiting beliefs that we've like created to be our truth, because we've literally created an identity that is like rooted in lack and not enoughness, right? And I'm going to actually teach you a self-hypnosis practice in a little bit here, which is so great. Is so great. If you're new here, I am, really, really passionate about approaching self-expression work from a subconscious and a somatic lens, because I know fucking like straight up that lasting transformation happens when you're working with your subconscious mind and body. And part of where people like get really fucking frustrated is when they're trying to create change from their conscious mind alone, and they're not actually working with their body. They're not actually getting into their unconscious being, and they just keep fucking finding themselves in repetitive self-sabotaging patterns because they're not actually like changing who they are on an identity level. And so I'm going to teach you a self-hypnosis practice here in a little bit. But yeah, it's like this really important thing that like if you want to be known by many people, that you stop making that fucking wrong. Something that happened for me last year, it was like, and I've briefly touched on this story in a previous episode, but I was pregnant. I went through like a pretty rough friend breakup. And before this person blocked me, I saw them. This is someone I was like fucking like, they were like one of my best friends, and it was really fucked up, like what happened, and really shitty. But all of that to say, before they blocked me, I saw them actually make a post that was directed at me about how it was essentially like toxic to want to be famous for your work. And it's so funny because this is someone that like I confided in, like she knew like the ins and outs of my expression, my life, like literally like this person was like one of my fucking sisters. And I saw that and I was like, okay, cool. Like that's like not my truth. And just thought it was really curious, like how pissed it made her that there were people that wanted this thing. And then I thought it was so interesting because this is the thing, judgment is almost always jealousy. Judgment is almost always jealousy, because the quickest way your ego will try to defend itself is to make the very thing that you want wrong as an attempt to soften the blow of being disappointed that you don't have the thing, or that you aren't courageous enough within your own embodiment to name that you really fucking want that. Because like I said at the beginning of this episode, if you're a business owner, if you're an entrepreneur, a leader, you're fucking straight up lying to yourself if you say that you don't want to be known by many people, like on a true soul-based level. There might be some, things going on around your relationship with being highly visible, which is totally like one of the biggest foundations of the work I do with self-expression is supporting women in recognizing like, wow, yeah, I have some visibility blocks because I am truly afraid of being rejected, misunderstood, misrepresented, maybe canceled, right? But on a soul level, like true soul level, like if you have important work that you're doing in the world and you have a product or a service that you're selling, it's a straight up fucking lie that you don't want a lot of people to know about it. Because of course you want people to know about it because you want people to buy the fucking thing. Like that's just a fact of a matter, you know? And so anyways, I saw this and I was like, okay, interesting, whatever. Like I just like was like, that's fine. That's your perspective. And like straight up, like people wanting this thing is beautiful. Like it's fucking beautiful because the more creative, visionary, heart-led people in this world that have the resource of fame, the resource of money, the more fucking great we're going to do in this fucking world in terms of not only being provided for within our own experience and like therefore being nourished human beings, therefore being human beings that aren't fucking perpetuating the narrative, perpetuating the like generational trauma of scarcity, but then we also have more of a capacity for our fucking important work. Like it's so important that you are well taken care of. It's so important that you are provided for. It is so fucking important that you admit to yourself, like, yes, I want this thing. Because if you know you want the thing and you admit to yourself, I want this fucking thing, therefore it's no longer this like shadowy thing that you're just like shoving in a closet and being like, no, it's bad, I'm wrong. And you're like, yeah, I want this. And then you go, okay, God, I want this thing. Show me the way and give me the fucking courage to do it, right? Because instead of like sitting on the sidelines of your life and like, oh, like why? Like where's the sign? Like where's the tarot card? Like where's the angel number? Like where's the fucking bird that I asked to see today to like know that I'm ready? Like instead of just like waiting on the sidelines of your life, right? You're like, this is what I fucking want, right? Because like God and your spirit team is like, yo, dude, put in your order. What the fuck do you want? The world's your motherfucking oyster. And they're like, yo, like, what do you want here? Like, it's literally a goddamn playground on earth. And you're like, okay, this is what I want. Show me the way and give me the courage to do it. And then you got to be willing to do the fucking work. You got to be willing to show up to the altar of your life, to your leadership, to your business and go, yes, I'm going to do the scary thing. Yes, I'm going to do the bold thing. Yes, I'm going to do the thing that, you know, people in my life might fucking judge me for, but I'm going to say yes because I know that it's my sacred God-given gift to go for it and that it's going to actually benefit so many people. Because the thing is that, you know, when you recognize that everything, like the most, in my opinion, and even then, you know, there's nuances in this, and one could argue that there's lots of people out there in the world that are very wealthy that are doing harm and negative things, and that's your, you know, perspective, and also like could definitely be true, and is, you know, true. I mean, there is truth in that, right? In a sense of like depending upon your value system, right? And to me, I certainly see people misusing power, misusing wealth based on like how what I value in the world. And almost not, I'm not going to say straight up 100% always, but almost most of the time, the wealthiest people have provided a service that is helping people in some way, shape, or form, or is solving a problem, right? An example, even though this is like, you know, again, this could be a bit controversial depending on, again, your values. But we can take like something like Amazon, right? That's like something that most people are familiar with. Like there are people that are going to go, that is like Amazon's fucked. Like it's a fucked up company. Fuck Jeff Bezos. Like totally. Right. And that's like, yeah, like, do I agree with how like that wealth is distributed? Like maybe not fully. Is there a lot of negatives when it comes to like how maybe this company impacts the earth? Surely I would say that that is probably the case. And Amazon solved the problem, right? Amazon solved a problem. It gave people the ability to get items and things that they needed way faster, without the hassle of having to drive around and go to a store. Like, what I'm trying to get at here is no matter kind of how you relate to even people that you don't agree with in terms of how they like their expression of fame or wealth, most of the time these people are successful because they've solved the problem and or they're helping people in some way, shape, or form, even if it's not how you relate to what it means to be helpful or to be of service to humanity. And on the flip side, there are tons of people that are doing amazing fucking things in this world that really give a fuck about people, that really give a fuck about the earth, that are wealthy as fuck, that are famous as fuck. And guess what? Those people have untangled from a fucked up relationship with it being bad that they have that thing or want that thing for the most part. So it's like, okay, so if you want it, right, then you get to have it so long as you're willing to do the work to do it, right? As I said last episode, faith without work is fucking delusion. We're not here for delulu goals. Because your goals, your vision, your desires, as wild as they may be, as big as they may be, they're not delusional. They exist, right? I bet you there is someone out there that's already doing that in some way, shape, or form, and therefore it fucking exists. So why the fuck not you, right? Anyways, I digress. So when it comes to unshaming what you really want, it's really important to recognize that most of the time, if you're a grown adult, it's you and you alone that's keeping you in the shiny fucking cage, right? Because yes, we've all got a past. Yes, we've probably all gone through something in our life, our childhood, our adolescent years, our adult years that like fucked us up in some way, felt really shitty. And you can't change what happened to you, but you can change how you relate to that experience and what you're going to do going forward. So if you use your past as a prison, as a grown adult, that's a decision. And there's things that you get to do, right? It's not always going to be easy. Trust me, it's not always going to fucking feel easy. But there's things you can do to support yourself and unshackling yourself from the things that keep holding you back and censoring who you are, censoring your voice, censoring your expression, so much so that you literally feel like you are outside of the very things that you really want. And really the illusion, the real illusion is that you are separate. You're not separate. You're not separate. You are fucking worth it because you are alive. You are fucking worth it because you want the thing. You are fucking worth it, period. That's just the fucking fact. Okay? And one of the things that I want to invite into this as well is when we really want something, okay? When we really want something, again, like I said earlier in this episode, judgment is almost always jealousy or envy. And how some people just use jealousy as like an umbrella term for both envy and jealousy. The way that I kind of see the differentiation between these two things is like jealousy is that we feel like someone's going to take something that's ours. Envy is someone has something that we really, really want and we're not like experiencing yet, or we don't have it yet, but we really want the thing. And that can evoke this like somatic experience, right? So when we notice that we're judging people, there is always, of course, a reality, right? Where like we just don't vibe with someone. Like if you actually meet, this is the thing, if you meet somebody and you've been like connecting with them and you just don't vibe with them, you don't share values, you don't share like similar perspectives, like the vibe's just off. It's totally okay to be like, I don't like that person. Or I don't vibe with that person. It doesn't even have to be I don't like them. It can just be like we're just not compatible, right? And that's like totally fine. Where it becomes kind of fucky is when you don't know somebody, right? You don't know them, you've never talked to them, you've never interacted with them. Like you literally do not know this person. And yet you're judging them, right? You're judging their expression of wealth, you're judging their expression of fame, you're judging how they are in the world. That is where we want to get a little curious about, okay, what is it in me that is reacting to this person? And what is that really about? What is that really about? And your ego will try and dance around what the fuck's really going on, because it's hard to fully admit unless you've done this work enough times where like now, like I've befriended my shadow. I'm not afraid of my shadow. I'm not trying to get rid of my shadow. Like I know when I'm being a judgy bitch. I know when I'm jealous. I know when I'm envious, and I'm okay with admitting that to myself because I don't think that it's bad or wrong or shameful of me to be a human fucking being. You know, like I am a human. I'm going to have these experiences sometimes. But if we're like, you know, never really admitting to ourselves what is really going on, and we're always pointing fingers, we're always blaming other people, we're like, you're the problem. And so you did this thing, it's your attitude, it's like whatever the fucking thing is. If we're not actually able to look within ourselves and go, whoa, okay, what is it in me that is like really judging this person, is really feeling activated? And can we like go deep enough into ourselves to be really honest about what's going on, right? I remember there was a time where there was one person in particular who, when I was doing really, really well in my business, I just like thought like, wow, this person is fucking amazing. And I would like really, really love consuming her content. I would really love listening to her speak. I would like feel really connected to like the essence that she was embodied in. And then if I would go through a bit of a time where I felt like I was in a void creatively, or if I had a little bit of an income dip, all of a sudden my association with this person was very different. I would actually feel very activated when I would look at their content. I would feel very judgmental when I would consume what they were creating. And then I got really, I was like, okay, let's like curiously like just go within myself to see what the fuck is up here. And I was like, oh, dude, you know, like you're literally, one, you're comparing yourself to this person, and two, you're feeling really envious right now, right? Because they've created something that's really like it has a texture and a flavor of what I, you know, really want. And therefore, when I perceive that I don't have it, I'm therefore going to judge this person because I really want the thing and I just don't have it right now. At least that's what my perception says. And so the medicine in that for me was being able to go, whoa, 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 whoa. It's not that this person's not doing anything wrong. Whoa, this person's actually an expander for me, even and especially when I'm having a voidy energy with my creativity, especially when I am feeling like my income's taken a bit of a dip. Can I actually lean even more into this person's work in those moments to support me in seeing, oh yeah, wait a second, I actually do have what it takes. Oh yeah, wait a second. You know, my worthiness isn't attached to how much money I'm making. Wait a second, it's actually totally okay to have a void creatively, because any creative person in this fucking on this fucking planet has moments where they don't feel creative, or moments where they feel like the muse is gone, right? But it's not ever really gone. The money always shows up. Your success is valid and is always here, even in the moments where you are struggling to see yourself. Like, that is the fucking truth, right? So I'm going to invite you, like, notice who you judge the most, and notice how your association with people changes based upon what you're going through. And this is really important. I have taught myself, and I'm not perfect at this. Like I said, I do still have moments because I'm so unfucking believably human where I do judge, where I do have envy, of course. But I really trained myself to genuinely celebrate people, regardless of what I'm going through in my life. Like, I don't need to be at the top of like what I perceive to be my game, at the top of like my joy, to be able to be joyful and happy for somebody else. I get to actually truly hold someone in their brilliance and their joy and their celebration and the things that are going well for them, even if I'm having a hard time. This is like a fundamental thing that I like truly hold within myself, because I've taught myself how to do that. That wasn't like something that always came easily or naturally to me. I had to teach myself that like other women aren't my fucking competition. Other women aren't my enemy. Other women aren't my fucking like, they aren't people that I need to demonize or shame or make wrong, right? Just to make myself temporarily feel better. And I'm using feel better in quotations if you're not watching the video. Like, other women are not my fucking enemy. They're not my competition. They're my fucking sisters. Other women are my sisters. Other women show me what's possible. Other women pave the way for me to see myself. Other women teach me valuable lessons about what I'm capable of. Other women are my fucking sisters, right? That's the fucking vibe that I hold within my heart and within my being. Now, when it comes to dismantling the potential like jealousy that we have for people, again, we're not shaming ourselves. We're not we're not going, wow, you're such a bad person for feeling jealous. We're like acknowledging our humanity. We're acknowledging like, okay, yeah, I have this in me. I'm feeling this thing. And instead of blaming the other person and making the other person wrong, we're taking radical self-responsibility for how we're relating to other people, how we're relating to the world. And we're giving ourselves an opportunity to breathe into our experience, to honor our feelings, to do whatever we need to do somatically to move that energy through us. And then we are able to, again, ask the question, what is it that this person is holding, embodying, expressing that is maybe within me that longs to be seen? And can I see her in her glory, in her radiance? And can I honor her? Can I celebrate her? Can I like really feel joyful for her as this sacred mirror for myself? Like, thank you, whomever, for being a portal of possibility for me in this moment. Thank you for showing me what I really want. Thank you for showing me what I don't want. Thank you for, providing me an example of what life could look like, what success could like. And then I can come back into myself and just use my own discernment to decide how I want to create some flavor of, fame, wealth, success for my, like in my own right. Yeah. So important. So important. Okay, so I'm going to teach you a self-hypnosis practice. This is something that I learned from one of my teachers, Onami, and I feel so grateful to really have this like very tangible way to self-hypnotize in any moment of every day. Doesn't matter where you are, doesn't matter what you're doing. This is so important. And this like really goes beyond just like using just positive affirmations like straight up, because until you're aware of what is actually going on unconsciously, right, it's going to keep running your life. You're going to keep resisting what you want. You're going to keep lying to yourself about what you're actually thinking and believing, right? Like if you are somebody, or maybe not you specifically, but like let's say like maybe you can think of somebody who, and maybe like instead of maybe someone specific, maybe it's just like an archetype we can kind of create together for a second. So like you maybe like think of this like this dude who like lives a very Peter Pan lifestyle, and this person is like, doesn't really like, is always couch hopping. Like they never like, they never actually have enough. Like they're kind of just like, yeah, they're just living like a very, I don't know, like teenage boy lifestyle. But then they're like, oh yeah, I'm like so abundant. I'm so abundant. I'm so abundant. And it's like, no, like this person genuinely isn't. Like they're always actually complaining about they don't have enough, that money's bad. Like we're just creating an archetype here. Okay. This is the same kind of bullshit that like people tell themselves, where it's like, you're like looking in the mirror and you're like, oh, I am so wealthy, I'm so prosperous. And it's like, but do you believe that? Because if you believed that truly, you would actually see things in your reality that reflect that belief. So we need to actually understand what it is that we truly are believing through what we're seeing in our reality. What we see in our reality is a direct reflection of how we feel about ourselves, our worthiness, how we relate to ourselves, how we relate to the world, right? When we start to change how we relate to ourselves, when we start to work with these fundamental like identity-based beliefs, what we see starts to shift, right? What we believe is possible starts to shift. It's just a fact of the matter. Your perception creates your reality. And I'm not talking about needing to be some shiny, perfect version of yourself that never has a hard time. Fuck that. If you've been around for a while, you know that I talk about how we manifest based on like our identity-based beliefs, not how we feel on a moment-to-moment basis. Like basic law of attraction bullshit, like just isn't like, it just isn't the vibe for me. I'm like, you can be a sad fucking bitch in the morning and feel like a soggy wet piece of pizza, and then like still believe that you're wealthy and still have a fuck ton of money in your bank account and still serve your clients in an empowered way. Like, your day-to-day emotions as a human being do not dictate your entire reality. I just think that's a bullshit like way of keeping people in a perfectionism loop. But what you believe to be true on an identity level absolutely creates your reality. Okay. So this self-hypnosis practice is you're going to and I want you to do this for 10 different things. And then I want you to get into the practice of doing this every single day, like throughout your day, when you notice something that maybe isn't feeling congruent with how you really want to be in the world. So the process is you're going to take a look at what you see. Okay. I'll give you an example. I'm moving. I haven't told the world yet. I'm telling you, you're the first person to know. Well, I'm actually going to make a post about this early today. So anyways, my husband and I have decided that we are going to move all the way across the country. We're leaving this beautiful island, or beautiful home on the island, and we are moving all the way back to my hometown. Okay. Long story short, it's become abundantly clear since becoming parents that being isolated away from family who can be like really big support systems for us as parents and for our daughter and our future children is like so fucking isolating, and it's just not the vibe. Like, as beautiful, as mystical, as magical, as much as we love living on the island, this is not serving our bigger vision, which is to build our family, which is to build our businesses even more, to build our impact, our visibility, all of these things. And having a core supportive system that is like really integrated into our daughter's life, that can be like babysit, like can support us as parents, like that feels like the next big thing to unlocking our next chapter and level of wealth. So we are leaving the island and we're moving all the way to Ontario to my hometown. And the beautiful thing is this is a massive upgrade. Like, we are moving into a bigger house with a backyard right by the lake. Like, it's in the north end of the city. Like, it is like the best case scenario. And the way that this unfolded is so synchronistic. Like, I'll probably talk about this on a different episode. It's like perfect. Okay. But I could feel over the past few days, I was like kind of dreading it, like not like very excited, but dreading the process of moving, dreading like the logistics of it. I started to create this narrative that it was going to be really fucking stressful. And I was feeling like shit because I was holding this narrative that, oh, this is going to be so overwhelming. This is going to be so stressful. I started to feel like shit. So I was like, okay, I see that I am believing that moving is going to be very stressful. So the first prompt is, I see. Clearly, I believe. So clearly, I believe is the second prompt. Clearly, I believe that moving is going to be very stressful and overwhelming. Third prompt. I believe, this is where we're flipping the belief on its head. I believe that moving is going to be easeful and expansive. Ooh, yeah, right? That feels like so different in the body. Fourth prompt, because I know that moving is going to be expansive and easeful, I enjoy this process and I give myself all the spaciousness that I need to move in a way that is deeply supportive in my nervous system. Ooh, right? So different. I'll give you another example. Let's say you're somebody, and I was just actually doing this with my clients in one of my group programs, Emboldened, the other day. And one of the girls, we were doing this self-hypnosis work around some money beliefs that she had. And when we got to the clearly I believe one, she was like, oh, I don't want to say that I believe that though, right? Because just sidebar for a second, so many spiritual women are so afraid to admit to themselves what the fuck they're actually believing, because they think if I admit it, then it means that I'm going to manifest more of it. If I write it down in my journal, it means that I'm going to make it come more true. If I say it out loud, it's going to come to fruition. It's like, dude, it's already here. You're trying to avoid the thing that you're already experiencing. Admitting it is actually where you're going to liberate it. Yeah. Okay. So if you're feeling like, oh, I don't want to say that thing, say the fucking thing, because this is the work. So if you're somebody who is feeling like you are looking, because again, we're looking at our reality, we're taking inventory, like what is not working? What am I seeing that is not working for me? So let's say you are somebody who's, having a hard time financially, and you believe there's never enough. There's this not enough. Like there's just never enough. You're seeing in your reality, there's never enough. Okay. You're going to go through this process. I see that there's never enough money. Okay. Clearly, I believe that there's never enough money. I believe that there is always more than enough money and that I'm always provided for. Because I know that there is always more than enough money and that I am deeply provided for, I am in deep integrity with where my money goes. I sell my services confidently and I get hired on repeat as my standard. Okay. Powerful, right? Let's do one more. Let's say you're somebody who sees that you keep attracting the same type of partner, a partner who doesn't see you, who doesn't respect you, maybe somebody who's always unavailable on some level, whether that's unavailable emotionally, time-wise, like never keeps their word, like whatever it is. You would say to yourself, I see that I keep attracting unavailable men. Clearly, I believe that I only get to have unavailable men, right? I believe that I am deeply worthy of available, present, embodied men. Because I know that I am deeply worthy of being in relationship or attracting healthy, embodied, available men, I raise my standards for who gets access to me, and I allow myself to only accept people in my life that meet me in my power. Okay? So I want you to take 10 things and I want you to write them down. And the thing with the because I know part is you want to make it like precise. Like we don't want like a fucking paragraph in the because I know. We want it to be precise. What is the thing that you really want? And this self-hypnosis practice becomes a way that in real time, we're shifting how we react to reality. We're shifting what we see. We're shifting how we believe, like what we believe to be true. Because one of the things that will cause you the most suffering is constantly being stuck in a motherfucking story about why you don't get to have the thing, why things suck, why you're not worthy. And you go around and around in a circles and you just keep creating that because you're reinforcing this identity-based belief. And the thing is here, okay, you must be willing to change your behavior and make different decisions and take different actions to create what you really want. So you can't just do this, process, this self-hypnosis ritual, and then keep doing the same shit that you've always done and expect different results. That's just not going to work. You can't do this. Like you can't go through this self-hypnosis ritual and then immediately go on fucking Humble, Tinder, whatever, Bumble. I'm really out of the loop with the dating world, y'all. I'm married to the love of my life. And then go on these dating apps and then be messaging like 20 dudes who like just want to get their dick wet. Like, fuck that, like be really intentional. Okay. So for me, the example of moving, when I went through this because I know process, I was like, okay, what do I actually need to do now? What is the action that is connected to this truth of what I really want? So that meant that Justin and I had a conversation about how we were actually going to approach this move. And we got a really solid plan in place that feels like really yummy in my nervous system. We had important conversations with family that are going to support us and like helping us with the logistics. Like we took action. So don't just sit around like twiddling your thumbs, fucking scrolling Instagram and fucking waiting for your life to change. Like figure out what is not working, what you want more of, and then decide, make a decision and take different actions and change your behaviors. If you're somebody who's like really wanting to go to the gym. And you're like, well, I see that I'm never going to the gym. Clearly, I believe that I'm never going to go to the gym. I believe that I go to the gym 3 times a week because I know that I go to the gym 3 times a week. I actually put that in my schedule. I make sure my workout clothes are fully fucking ready to go that morning. And I don't do like whatever the like trigger is that causes you to procrastinate. You're not doing that thing. You're fucking, so if it's like you're somebody who knows that if you wait to work out until the afternoon that you're never going to do it, you're going to go in the morning, right? Whether that's at home, if you're a mama like me, you fucking go to your little workout station, you do the thing. Like you change the cues that cause you to continually reinforce the bullshit, and then you do something different. So again, if we're using the dating example, if you're like literally like on these apps and it's a distraction from like working on yourself and doing things that you really want to be doing and meeting people in the ways that you really want to be meeting, then maybe like the action is I'm going to delete these fucking dating apps for a month, and I'm going to like go to an ecstatic dance on Sundays. I'm going to go to a few workshops where maybe there is an opportunity for me to meet someone who maybe actually holds like the embodiment of what I'm really looking for, right? We're changing the actions, we're changing the behaviors. We're not fucking waiting. We're not waiting. We're not like, God, please like give me this thing, and then not actually being the type of person that can hold it. We're going, God, this is what I want. This is what I'm willing to do, like whatever it takes, like show me the way and give me the courage to do it, right? So all of this to say, practice this, practice it, practice it, practice it, and like really get into the habit of like using this as a tool, a resource that you use again and again and again to support you in like literally changing your life. And of course, there's so many other ways that we get to support changing our identity-based beliefs, right? I'm again like such a firm believer in shifting how you are experiencing your life, who you're being on a subconscious and somatic level. And again, my approach to self-expression work is really integrating the various modalities that really get into the weeds of your humanity to support you in uncensoring your voice and unfucking your relationship with being seen. And that's why I'm so excited to invite you into Voice, the House of Liberated Self-Expression, which is my membership. And this month, we're actually diving into the topic of embodied presence. And what embodied presence really is it's actually like your juicy secret sauce, if you will, that actually is your magnetism. It's why people hire you and see you as a go-to expert for the work that you're doing in the world. You know, there's always going to be people that do similar work as you, people who, you know, are amplifying a particular message that is similar to what you're amplifying in the world. And this is a good thing. But your iconic it factor energy, the unique tonality of your voice, the way that you express things is actually going to support you in being seen in the ways that you know that you're made for. So it's not about that other people are your competitors. It's actually about you recognizing that you are the only person that actually really does what you do, right? Because again, lots of people are amplifying similar messages. That's amazing. We want that. We want this, you know, the work that we do to get into the hands of as many people as possible, even if it's not through us specifically. But why people come to us, why people will see us as the go-to expert is because of our unique tone and flavor of expression. So we actually have our next live call on January 28th at 11 a.m. PST. There's also a recording if you can't make it live, but we're going to be getting down and dirty with what it means to actually be embodied in your iconic it factor energy, aka your embodied presence. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go into a somatic flow to really bring this into the body, followed by a really epic Q&A session. So Voice is the go-to place to uncensor your voice and unfuck your relationship with being seen. It's only $97 a month to join, and you're getting a whole slew of things. You're getting access to a growing global community of epic as fuck women who are also so devoted to liberating their self-expression, filled with various different chats, various different practices in our portal, where you get access to like thousands of dollars worth of somatic and subconscious practices, trainings, and every single month new trainings and experiences get uploaded, as well as a live call to support you with a very specific thing regarding your self-expression. And so you're going to want to head to the show notes and Leap Inside Voice and join us, because it's a motherfucking party, y'all. And I'm so excited to support you inside. So all of this to say, your desires are sacred. You get to have the thing. You're fucking worth it. You are the one that gets to do this. And it's time to rise and motherfucking shine. Okay? I hope you have an amazing day. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a review. Let us know what came up for you. Share this with a friend, post this on your stories. Not only does it help this important work get into the hands of more people, but I also love to hear from you. I love to hear what's resonating. I love to hear what you're wanting more support with. I want you to, see being a part of this podcast community as a space where we get to hang out, we get to hang out every month and we get to really get to know each other. So definitely hit me up on Instagram. Let me know how you liked this episode, and I will see you next week.